That was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I've seen so many faces that I've seen even before 1994. That tells us there's no change after 20 years. We need to cry and we need to be ashamed of the people that we put in front of us with our votes, because today we are crying. They don't care about us. However, comrades, I'm appealing to you. We need to fight, and we must fight and fight.
I'm Siki Danga, I'm a writer and I'm an activist from Satli.
I'm Bonolo Makale, I'm a social activist and I'm with Churches United Against Corruption.
I'm Craig Stewart, I work as a non-profit worker within the church communities of the Western Cape.
Hi, I'm Sizwe, I'm an artist and also an activist.
My name is Julia and I have started a political party for women because I believe women are marginalized and need a voice.
My name is Dutu Zonzomo. I'm the Deputy General Secretary of Equal Education.
The issue of corruption, for me, it keeps us from getting to the place where we can be, the place that we're supposed to go to as South Africa, and it's keeping us from the dreams that the people who fought for this country, who died for this country, and it keeps them from their dreams about this country.
I think that corruption is like a cancer. I think it will destroy from the inside out. And I think it's based on greed. And I think the current government are not being held accountable. And they have a lot of money and a lot of power at their disposal. And I think it's causing them to forget who they're representing.
It's like I want them to see the big vision, because if they can see the big vision, then they would see how almost stupid actually participating in corruption is.
Corruption is not only limited to government. We need to realize that there's also corruption happening within the private sector. We actually saw corruption taking place in the construction, with the construction companies that were actually building the 2010 stadiums. We saw it happening. We see it happening all the time with the bread companies, where they come and collude together to raise the prices of a bread. And we've seen institutions within government that have actually shown us the issues which currently exist in different companies or in different sectors of the private sector. And we should never, I don't think we should limit it to only government. Corruption is happening everywhere, and when we say no to corruption, people should not think we are actually, anti-government. We are not anti-government, but we're saying no, we are anti-corruption. Exactly.
If you limit corruption to current, then you exclude the idea that our corruption starts long before 1994. And so for every mansion and fire pool that was built at Nkandla, there were mansions and pools built during apartheid. And for every time we ask for the money to be paid back for what is happening now, we need to be talking about how do we pay back the money and the mansions and the fire pools for pre-1994. And corruption has a place to take hold of now because we didn't deal with our history. We didn't deal with the corruption of our history, and so in those secret places you end up with a situation where corruption can thrive because we actually haven't dealt with the mansions and fire pools and chicken coops and things that were built pre-1994 off the backs of people illegally and corruptly.
We should be able to speak out about the corruption which is happening in government. We should be able to say that there needs to be proper implementation of the Nkandla report. Parliament should be doing something about that.
I also think that how did we get a president like that? You know, because for me, maybe we're corrupt, you know, and we're the ones who vote in a guy like that. We're the ones who allow, because I mean, it's not like it was a secret before that Jacob Zuma is corrupt. It was not a secret before he became president, and it's not a secret now. And so, I think for me, the face of our government reflects the face of the nation, that we are okay with corruption.
If you can remember, he had the scandal of arms deal. When or where did it end? He's still like on top, you see. But now it's another thing, you see. I can say that guy, like, he's the face of the country. South Africa is very big, and then we are watching to him. But now he's coming with another things. So I can say I also blaming him not to become a good leader, because now he is not a good leader by his actions. Because we're supposed to be clean as a president. If like we can think in other countries, you didn't hear about the president who have many scandals like this one. It's like that.
I find it interesting that when we talk about corruption, we talk about Jacob Zuma, the corrupted baby, but we don't talk about the companies that corrupt. And they're the same companies that were corrupting pre-apartheid who were present in, and we haven't held them to account. And we haven't held the political leaders of that time to account. And when we don't hold the political leaders of our past to account, then it's difficult to hold our political leaders of our current to account. And so we sit with a situation where we don't have a tradition of holding our political leaders to account, and we don't have a tradition of holding our business leaders to account. So the guys who paid the bribes quietly sit back and smoke their cigars and get on with paying the next bribe and smile as the press eviscerates the black man from Africa.
Yeah. Today, like the demonstration that we just saw today, for me that is hope.
Banzi corruption, Banzi! Banzi corruption, Banzi!
Those are the people who are willing to stand in the rain and say we will not stand for a corrupt society. So I say we are as responsible.
Yeah. And the Archbishop said something actually in his talk. He said a corrupter and a corruptee equals corruption. And I feel like that was a call to us as well, because normally when we speak about corruption, unfortunately, and I don't want to sound like I'm defending Zuma or anything like that, but unfortunately every time we speak about corruption, we are taking Jacob Zuma. But the reality is, as Siki is saying, the reality is the fact that we have put him in power, it means that in some way we have played part to where we are as a nation.
You know, you mentioned in Kandla, I just thought it was really interesting. I was in Parliament when they debated that, and the way in which the public prosecutor's report was thrown out and the police commissioner's report was brought in, there was actually no process followed there. You see, I kind of feel that corruption flows from the top down. That's my feeling. I know we've got an apartheid legacy to deal with and we've got individuals, but I think there's a principle of what goes from the top flows down. So if you have a government that are a government of integrity, that sets a standard in a nation. Our current governments steal and lie, and therefore I think that's flowing down into every sector of society. That is the way society is operating. That's my sense, because someone was asked the other day about I think it was the money for the soccer. And they said, well, we don't know, we had nothing to do with it. Like Zuma said, I don't know about Nkandla, I had nothing to do with it.
Sorry, I don't agree with that. I think the statement that we have a corrupt government is problematic. The public protector, in one of her speeches, she explained it properly. We have corrupt individuals within government.
That's true.
Not the corrupt government. we cannot actually generalize on like certain individuals who are actually corrupt. We see like other ministers who are actually doing their jobs also with like, you know, everyone in their ministries. For example, look at Treasury. Treasury is doing an effective job in this country. And if we are saying that the whole of government is corrupt, that means we are actually, you know, claiming that each and every department in this country is actually corrupt. But I would rather actually stick with the statement that, you know, there are individuals within government that are corrupt.
The government are very clever, because I think what they do is they take the loyalty of the people to the vehicle of liberation. So the ANC was the vehicle of liberation. And so they take the loyalty that the people of South Africa have, and I think the people of South Africa are amazing. I think we have more value and more integrity in the people of South Africa than you do in many nations. But I think they take that loyalty and they keep pointing people back to the vehicle of liberation, to 1956, to the Freedom Charter. And so they hold the people's attention on that vehicle while they themselves are living a different life. And so I think they're deceiving the people. I don't think it's like you were saying, Siki, I don't think the people we're responsible to vote, but I think the people are very deceived by a very clever government. Because every time we have an election, the ANC go out, and all the parties do, and they promise and they give food and they bring Mandela out and they bring out the ANC and the struggle, and everybody remembers their loyalty, and then they forget this is corrupt, this is robbing from us. And so I think we need to try and educate the people to separate the vehicle of liberation from the people who are currently in power.
Doesn't that undermine the intelligence of the people, you know, because it's almost as you're suggesting that, and if I'm not hearing you correctly, but it's almost suggesting that it's like our people are stupid to allow themselves to. So by virtue of saying they're easily deceived by virtue of saying educating them.
I think what I'm trying to say is that I think there's a play on loyalty. They use that. The ANC was the vehicle of liberation. But the truth is today it's not the vehicle of liberation. Today it's a vehicle of oppression.
There's probably more money that goes missing in big business and exploitation of people, exploitation of communities, and nobody holds them accountable, and they are so powerful. So Julie, you talk about power corrupts. I mean, those guys who have money and who sit behind, you know, closed doors with their cigars, they're really powerful. They're the ones who have the power, and they're still running things from a position that the government can't even touch. We almost need like a very vigilant system in our country where the citizens are very vigilant and educated to see who's exploiting, who's doing what, so that we can be able to stand up against these superpowers who are happy to exploit and just mock people and not even care if they die, because some of these companies, they don't care if people die so that they can have all the millions.
I think my dream is a country where everybody can have a job and enjoy the fruit of that labor.
My dream is to see an end to injustice, inequality and unemployment.
My dream is for every child in South Africa and every family to have their own home.
My dream is to open like an NGO for the youth.
My dream was probably articulated by Martin Luther King when he said, I dream of a time when a person will not be evaluated on the color of their skin.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.